Survive and advance. That was the name of the game for the Celtics in Game 5, defeating the Magic 120-89, and now they're moving on to round 2. Meghan Ottolini here of WEEI and Odyssey, joined by Jayson Turpin, and we're coming to you from TD Garden, obviously, where we had to start with the adjustments, the biggest word in all of NBA playoffs, the adjustments that the Celtics were able to make after halftime, because that first half that they played without a single three-pointer made was some of the ugliest basketball I think we've seen in the last 4 years.
Yeah, 6 attempts, three-point attempts in the first half, just so unlike the Celtics. They didn't make any, and they're getting outshot, out-rebounded, had more turnovers. 40% of Orlando's points in the first half came from offensive rebounds and turnovers, and the Celtics were just shooting themselves in the foot.
I think the boards were a big issue too. We talked about, we had a little pillar between us in the press box, and we were kind of shouting around to each other, and at one point you said they are offensive rebounds. They've been offensively rebounded 8-1, and I said, no, Turp, it's 10-1
it got that
here
bad.
at halftime. It was that bad. So we always talk about the margins, and there's a lot of focus on the three-point shooting. It was just kind of ugly across the board. So talk to me about the adjustments that you saw, aside from Paolo Banchero picking up those 5 fouls in the third quarter.
Yeah, I think that was the big thing, but also the Celtics dictated the pace in the second half. That's been the story of this entire series. When the Celtics were playing fast, they were getting into their offense, they were scoring buckets. When they played down to Orlando's pace, it wasn't the same. And certainly Paolo being off the floor helped with that, and the Magic went bigger, and that's going to help with Boston getting out and running. But really, the Celtics just played by their terms in the second half, and they won the game because of it.
One thing that we heard post-game as we just came out of our media press conferences was Jaylen Brown saying he really didn't feel great until the second half of this game, which is a little alarming to hear, but it also confirmed what we all watched, because he looked dreadful in that first half. And then third quarter, once Paolo Banchero is out, he's able to start picking up some momentum and really look like himself by the fourth quarter. Do you have any concerns about him as we head into round 2? Maybe Sunday, maybe Monday.
I mean, just looking at the final box here, 23 points, 6 rebounds, and 3 assists. It's hard to be concerned about him. Obviously, it's just something that we know he's going to be dealing with, and he admitted it again post-game tonight. So it's something that we just kind of got to go used to, and it's kind of going to be a tiresome topic because we're going to hear about it the entire postseason, but I'm not really too concerned about it because he's shown that he can adapt to it. He already has 2 double-doubles this postseason. That ties his career high for any postseason ever. And he won Eastern Conference Finals and NBA Finals MVP last year, and he's playing at a higher level in that sense than he has in the years past. So I'm really not too concerned about him. I mean, you know he's not going to miss time. It's just not going to happen.
Right. It's just a matter of how quickly can he feel good when he's in these games and feel loose. We asked, was it the knee? Was it his dislocated finger? A little bit of everything. You have to assume that the knee is so banged up, it's going to be something that lingers through a lot of these playoffs. One guy who I have to say I have zero concern with at this point, Jayson Tatum. Coming back from that wrist injury, okay, he drops 36, 37, and then tonight 35. Jayson Tatum is playing some of the best basketball that I can remember in a playoff run across this 3-game stretch. Like, if he's got to sit out 1 game in these series, but then he gives you 3 like that, there's an argument for the cost and benefit.
I mean, only one other player has done that in Celtics history, and it's Larry Bird. When you're in the conversation of Larry Bird, you're doing something right. And to think that he's on this type of heater, and we could see the Knicks in the second round, a team that he has torched this year, this could be a dominant run for Jayson Tatum, just with matchup-wise. And against one of the best defense in the league, he completely dominated this entire series, with the exception of Game 1, and obviously came back after he missed Game 2, but he was phenomenal the entire time.
So across these 5 games of this series, the Orlando Magic were able to hold the Celtics to a 3-point attempt average of about 31 per game. That's even lower than the 33 attempts in 1 game that was the lowest for the Celtics this year, that was against the Magic. So the question here that a lot of people are going to be asking is this now the blueprint for teams going forward who are going to face the Celtics? I want to ask everyone to breathe and relax a minute, because I'm going to tell you this. First of all, the Celtics have been volume shooting 3-pointers since the beginning of last year. So if these teams haven't tried to combat that and limit that, they are too stupid to be in the playoffs. Second of all, I think that if you look at the opponents that the Celtics are going to see as they move through the East, most likely, whether it's the Pistons and Knicks next round or all the way down to the Cleveland Cavaliers maybe in the Eastern Conference Finals, none of them really have the defensive ranking and the attributes that you just saw against Orlando. Orlando
Specifically New York.
gets knocked because of the offensive rating, the low offensive play that they had during the regular season, but they are probably the toughest defensive team that you're going to see in the East.
Yeah, I mean, you really don't have to worry about that until the NBA Finals, and that's if Oklahoma City gets there. And there's a lot that has to go right, and I've been preaching that the entire time. For both teams to get there, there's a lot that has to be right. And the reason Orlando is able to do what they do is because they have such great individual defenders, where other teams don't do that. Other teams have a weak link that the Celtics just attack. They call it the killer whale offense. They're very open about this. It's not some top secret stuff. Like, that's what they're going to do. You know they have plenty on the Knicks, and you know the Cleveland has some as well. Like Darius Garland and Karl Anthony Towns have a target on their backs when they're on the floor. Orlando doesn't have one of those defenders, so that's why they're able to stay one-on-one, make guys play on an island, which other teams don't have the luxury of doing, with the exception of Oklahoma City, which we saw them do that when they lost to them in January. So that is a little bit of a concern, but there's a long way between then and now, and it's just so hard to replicate what Oklahoma City did defensively because they're one of a kind in that sense. Like, that's what they built their identity on, is they're all going to individually guard, and it's obviously defense. A lot of it is just your focus and your wants, but they also have very talented defenders, and they're doing it without Jalen Suggs. So this team's one of a kind in that sense.
It's size too, where
For sure.
the Orlando has so much length and so much size, along with their physicality. Don't want to look too far ahead, because if you get to worry about the Oklahoma City Thunder, you are really blessed to be back in the NBA Finals. But the bigs that they're able to roll out on that team is a little bit of nightmare fuel. Turp, did you see anything in particular from the Celtics this series that makes you more hopeful about them going forward, or more concerned? Obviously, we're all a little worried about Jrue Holiday. He misses these last 3 games of the series. Hopefully, now with some extra time off as the Pistons and Knicks sort themselves out, he'll be able to rest that hamstring a little further. And whether that game 1 is Sunday or Monday, be able to be back then or in this next series. Anything else concerning or exciting you?
I mean, I think the physicality and the injuries mounting up a little bit is concerning. Again, there's a long time between now and June 5th, and you already got dealing with a bunch of little things here. And that's not the draw that you really wanted in round 1 against Orlando, because that's how they play. But I think on a positive sense is that they were tested to the extreme. Like, they took away the Celtics' number one offensive threat, their three-point shooting, and they had a win in other ways. And it also reaffirms just the attention to detail that they need to get to where they want to be, like those margins. Like, just control those, and oftentimes the Celtics are the better team. They're the more talented team. As long as they take care of those margins, they're going to be just fine. So all in all, if everyone made this out healthy with just a couple bumps and bruises, I think this could be a good thing, because the Celtics were tested in a way that other teams might not have tested them. And I do think with this Celtics team specifically, teams in the past maybe is a little different. I don't think they needed a wake-up call in round 1. Like, they were just here last year. They just did this last year. I'm not necessarily sure that if they got a cream puff like Atlanta, it would have been like some wake-up call that they needed. You know what I mean? So I guess it's a good thing that they were tested, because they cruised a lot through the regular season. But, I mean, that's a positive, but the injuries do concern you a little bit with Jayson Tatum, and it doesn't look like an issue, but Jalen's obviously hobbled. Jrue Holiday's the big question mark, because they missed him dearly in this year.
Absolutely, absolutely. Well, we, as I said before, are awaiting the Game 1 schedule, seeing what's going on with Detroit and New York. We might be back here Sunday, we might be back here Monday. Whenever we're back here, we will have our post-game video for you. And where can they find you, Turp?
You can find me on Instagram at justin.turpin and on Twitter at justinmturpin.
Ooh, look at this guy leading with the Instagram. He's trying to monetize.
Yeah, I mean, that's where you get these videos, right? These breakout videos are on the Instagram, so you can find those there. And then on weei.com.
All right, you can find me at megawaffles22 on Instagram.
That's a cool name.
And at Meghan_Ottolini. Wave bye-bye to the, what did you call it? The SeaWorld offense?
Killer whale offense.
The killer whale defense.
There's no blood out here.
No.
Which is a good thing.
Yeah.
At least not now.
Not now.
They cleaned it up. Kristaps was bloodied up in game.
It's so late. We gotta go home.
Yeah. Time for bed.
We'll see you guys later this weekend.